Interstellar has established itself as one of the best science fiction adventure films for its brilliantly written narrative, stunning visuals, and an awesome soundtrack. Cooper, the protagonist, fights and overcomes various obstacles throughout the film, but the underlying cause is blight, a parallel of real-world climate change issues. Nolan's goal here is to use blight to portray climate change and the issues we must face if we don't resolve it. So, how do you alienate the Earth and create an unfamiliar environment? What techniques are used to do this? We'll be exploring these questions in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. I'll be analyzing two clips taken from the first portion of the movie. So first, look at this clip. Notice how the light flares against Cooper as he's walking to the window. It gives an ethereal feeling, almost like he was dreaming. He then walks to the window where we are revealed to the vast fields of corn, along with the music build-up. The corn creates a sense of endlessness for the viewer, like the waves of water or hunks of ice on Miller's and Mann's planet. It foreshadows the idea of isolation that Cooper must face later in the film. The camera then does a close-up on Cooper's face. If you look really closely, you'll actually notice a reddish-purple glow on Cooper's face, which normally wouldn't be there. This suggests the idea that Cooper, is in another world. Once again, you can see the halo and the light flaring that's used. Along with the narration, it's almost like Earth wasn't actually Earth. Now, something really interesting that Nolan is doing throughout this entire scene is alternating between diegetic and non-diegetic sound by switching back and forth between the interviews and Cooper. It creates an interesting effect because although we know that the interviews are set in the future and not in the present, it feels like Cooper's world is actually a memory and is set in the past. Once again, this contributes to Nolan's goal of creating an unfamiliar and surreal setting. Once the movie transitions out of the narration, music is actually very rarely used. Nolan wants the audience to be fully immersed in the dust and the blight in the movie's Earth, while using music to fill in the empty silence of space. For the most part, everything in the scene is comprised of diegetic sound. From the baseball game all the way to the dust in Murph's room is almost all diegetic sound. Nolan wants the viewer to feel like they're immersed in the scene. The two exceptions, however, are in the car and in Murph's room. If you listen really carefully when the dust storm approaches, you can actually hear the tiny sound of a violin in the background. One high-pitched note that's held for the entire scene. It not only builds tension, but combined with the color scheme, makes the entire scene feel like a horror movie. But instead of a monster, it's the blight, the dust, and the state of the Earth that is the monster. The next exception is when Cooper discovers the gravity anomalies. The lighting and color are also very important in this scene. It's not actually this yellow outside, but it's purposely done so to give that horror movie feeling. You can see this both in the kitchen and Murph's room. That yellow exaggerates and emphasizes just how bad the state of the world is.